Yo, what's up guys? So today we are gonna see, what if Hinata and Hanabi falls in love with Naruto, Jealousy Sakura, part 3. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, go check out the author of this fanfic, Katie Ray Mule, link is in the description, and also subscribe to my channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. Konoha Graveyard, situated at a distance away from the lively village. Home to fallen warriors, heroes, and loved ones alike. The place where most of the ninja and civilians rest, and decay for the rest of life itself. A stream of light was heading in this very direction. No one would be able to witness it, due to the tension of the world war against Madara and his followers. Pain's attack on this place was very damaging to say the least, but they were slowly pulling themselves together, and rebuilding what were once clean and clear buildings from the ground up, well in some places anyway. The light itself seemed to be made of pure energy, or something eerily similar to chakra with the way it resembled something being burned in the sky. The impact on the graveyard wasn't quite significant enough to cause alarm, but an explosion still rounded the area nonetheless. The graveyard seemed to glow with a light red hue for a moment before the light dimmed, then disappeared altogether. For a moment there was nothing, but that silence that existed prior. Nothing seemed out of place, but then suddenly the ground, in a particular area, exploded from the inside, and something that seemed to be a coffin, had been blown wide open, with a decomposed corpse present for all to bear spectacle to, if there was anyone present to begin with. The light from earlier returned, but this time it only resonated in the very open coffin, as it seemed to be consuming the bony body. The light shined blindly for almost 2 full hours before it died down, and in its place is a perfectly healthy-looking body. The body did not move or give any indication of life. Looking at the gravestone, one would clearly tell that this area, that looked exclusive to begin with, was the place where someone very important was buried. That person would be the lovable Hitomi Hyuga. Her breath hitched in her throat. Her body felt like it was on fire, and that in itself was anything but pleasurable. Her body felt like it was being forced to change in ways she could not understand and handle. She felt the most unbearable pain she could ever feel. It couldn't be described because it was what she could feel. She could breathe. Her eyes shot open, and she squinted them due to the brightness she hadn't adjusted to. She was dead. She knew she was dead. She felt the life pull out of her when she died, and that was in no way a dream. So what happened? She opened her eyes slowly and wearily. They burned a bit from the brightness, but she willed it out until she could finally see. It was hard to see anything at first, but that gradually changed, and she was finally able to look at her surroundings. She was in a hole. She wondered if someone was playing a prank on her. She wanted to laugh. She really wanted to laugh just for the sheer weirdness of it all, but one look at herself left her stunned. She was naked. Well, not fully, since she had little clothing that hadn't withered away, but the things she was wearing were barely clinging to her frame. Was she raped? She looked around, and realized she was in a coffin, and it looked more like she had been buried. She stood up, and made her way out the hole. When she looked around, her suspicions were immediately confirmed. She was in a graveyard, which meant she was dead. What's going on? She whispered hoarsely. Her throat felt so sore, and it hurt to even whisper, but right now she was panicking. How is she alive? She died when she was giving birth to Hanabi, so how is this possible? Allow me, human Hitomi, to hear a voice say, and she would have screamed in fright had it not been for her world suddenly going black. She awoke to what seemed like an area filled with great trees, and black and lavender roses, but they seemed to have something of a path to them. The same voice called, and that scared the hell out of Hitomi. What the hell was going on? She was adamant on doing anything, but she needed answers, so she went in the direction she felt the voice calling her to. It took a while, but she made her way to a clearing, and looked around. This whole place seemed so dull. The sky was black, while all the other things were gray, except for the lavender roses that stood out. There was also the longest tree she had ever witnessed. At least, she thought it was a tree. She walked a little closer to it, but then something stopped her. And when she looked carefully, she could see the outlines of a cage around the huge tree before the outlines disappeared, as if they were never there in the first place. There was also this paper that hung mid-air with a kanji she couldn't exactly make out because it was too high. Finally, I was beginning to think that you were lost. The voice sounded like it was coming from everywhere, but she somehow knew that it was the tree talking to her. Who are you? Hitomi asked, looking at the tree. She felt so silly for such an act, but so far she was in a whirlwind of confusion. I am Shinju Datara. Your legends label me as the Jubi, Shinju said. Hitomi was shocked and petrified. She knew all about the legend of the Jubi and the Sage of Six Paths. In actuality, the Jubi is considered a deity, an unstoppable force that even the sage himself had no control over, one of the reasons why chakra even existed. Upon looking at the tree, she could tell that it was really the demon. That fruit-looking thing it held was a dead giveaway. As she remembered correctly, then the legend stated that the fruit the Shinju possessed was forbidden to be eaten. However, someone had not listened to the rules and ate it. It was a princess right. She couldn't remember everything, but that was what basically led up to the Shinju becoming a vengeful beast after it says chakra. Well, she had chakra, and the Jubi was a few yards away from her, but she didn't feel safe. Do not fear. I did not bring you back to life just to extinguish you, Shinju said. So I'm alive. How? Where am I? How am I talking to Jubi? Hitomi questioned quickly. I revived you. You were in your mindscape. And you were able to talk to me because I am sealed within you, Shinju stated coherently. Sealed. Hitomi knew all too well what that meant from what Kushina told her. She was the Jubi's container, but how? The Jubi shouldn't even exist, but when it mentioned she was in her mindscape, then a sense of dread was falling upon her. Why? Hitomi didn't know what else to say. You proved most fitting among the dead, so I chose you. I cannot escape due to the Shinigami creating a seal to make our merge permanent, well until you die a natural death, so I cannot harm you, nor allow you to die unless it is of old age. Only then will I be able to do as I wish. I have gone through your memories, and I can tell you do not approve of what the world has become because of chakra. So I have a proposal for you, Hitomi Hyuga, Shinju said evenly. Proposal? What proposal? Hitomi asked. She felt relieved that the Jubi couldn't be released, and possibly kill everyone on Earth. It also went through her memories. This was so messed up. I have the ability to completely remove chakra from any human or mortal, and originally that would have resulted in their deaths. But since I'm stuck here, then the power goes to you. Due to my weakened state, you could remove a person's chakra without killing them. Shinju said. Why would I do that? Hitomi said with a frown. What was the reason for taking someone's chakra away from them? Think about it. Chakra is used to aid in violence and wars, making this world a horrible place for anyone to live in. The killing, deceiving, theft, rape all aided by the prospect of being stronger than you with the amount of chakra you have and can utilize. It provokes and creates unnecessary battles. Think of your children. What kind of world are they exposed to? What will they fall victim to? Think carefully before you give me your answer, Shinju said. Hitomi would have denied its request if it hadn't mentioned her children. She thought about it and realized that the Jubi made sense in his logic. She loved her kids very dearly, even though she hadn't seen what Hanabi looked like. She didn't want them to be involved in anything that could put them in danger, and besides, she wouldn't be killing anyone with what she did. Maybe something the Jubi wasn't telling her, but she knew it was telling the truth about the rest of it. Kushina told her that a Biju's word is law. She screwed her face into that of determination. I accept, Hitomi said. She was doing this so her babies wouldn't have to live a life of violence. Flashback ends. She planned on keeping to her mission as well. This was for her two beautiful children who she would die to protect. Crap. Naruto said, as he turned around another corner and ran like a bat out of hell. He just didn't get it. He just got back from the mission from Suna to this. When he was young he was always deemed a loser in the eyes of the female populace, but now he was being chaz, like the latest fashion wear, by a group of fangirls. He had to admit some of them did look hot, but it was platonic at best. Now he knew how Sasuke felt all those years ago. Those girls didn't want him, but what he had, the titles of two clans, the son of the Yellow Flash Minato, the savior of Konoha. Now that he thought about it, he really did do a lot of things, and he wasn't even in his 20s. There he is. A high-pitched voice squealed. He almost tripped when he heard that. He had to get away from them before they surrounded and raped him. He looked up ahead, and he sighed in relief when he saw his friends. Shika, Ino-chan. Help me. He pleaded. He could feel those girls getting closer with how hard the ground started to rumble. Ha. Naruto. Hey. What's wrong? Ino shouted, as she watched him run to them. If it's Naruto then I already know it's troublesome, Shikamaru said. Sometimes I wonder what the hell is wrong with you, Ino said glaring at Shikamaru who just shrugged. Quick guys hide me. Naruto said in a panic. From what Ino trailed off when she saw all the fangirls coming. Stay away from Naruto-kun. One of the fangirls screamed in anger at Ino. Naruto, you do realize you're a shinobi, right? Shikamaru said lazily. Seriously, how dumb can Naruto get? He had so many that could send all these girls screaming, and he just opted to run. Yep, that was Naruto alright. Oh, Naruto said in realization, and then put his hands in the familiar hand sign. With a poof of smoke the area was surrounded by hundreds of Narutos. These were his standard shadow clones who held no differences to him. Well, they still had attitude problems, but they were still reliable when it called for it. Quick everyone scatter. He shouted, as they all split in different directions, and made a break for it. It was chaos. Fangirls rushing, tackling, and dry humping the captured clones before they popped with emotional scars. The real Naruto was long gone. He used the distraction to jump to the roofs and run like a man possessed. Ino quickly grabbed one of the clones that was rushing past her by the collar and then cleared her throat. Hey Naruto. I was wondering if you're going with anyone to the spring festival. Ino asked. She admitted that he had become attractive over the years and what he did for Konoha, and the world made her view him in a new light other than an idiot. The boss is gone dude, I'm just a clone, the clone said with a straight face. His impassive demeanor really crept the hell out of Shikamaru and Ino. So you share memories, right? Ino asked impatiently. What the hell? The clone kept quiet because he knew about Ino's attitude and temper. He just hoped he'd get away without popping. Right? Ino asked sternly. She was gonna pop him if he didn't answer. He's already taken Pop. The clone vanished in a plump of smoke after Ino hit him for taking too long to answer. She didn't even realize what he said before he popped, but the clone's words finally caught on to her. He's what? Ino was shocked. No way. It was impossible. Naruto taken. It was laughable. Naruto wasn't interested in anyone but Sakura, but that had changed, and he hasn't acknowledged any female's affection ever since, and there were a lot of females after him. That stupid clone had to be lying. No way Naruto would have a girlfriend so soon. She had to investigate. I know that look Ino, and I say just drop it. It's too true. He was stopped by a death glare. You finish that word, and I'll castrate you. Besides, I'm just curious, Ino said with a gleam in her eye. Troublesome, Shikamaru said, then ran for his life. He looked slightly disturbed because of the lazy face he held as he ran, as fast as he could from a raging Ino. The door opened, and then shut with a bang. He was exhausted. He always dreamed of having fangirls, but now the very idea was scary. What the hell happened? One moment he's alone in the world, and the next thing he knows he has the whole village's females after him, or what was in his pants. He got back another clone memory, and cringed, not Ino too. Well, she was just asking about the spring festival, but something told him that there was more to it than that. At least he was safe in his apartment for now. Naruto. He looked in front of him, and saw Hanabi sitting on the couch looking at him curiously. Oh hey Hanabi-chan, Naruto greeted me tiredly. Damn those girls. You look like crap, Hanabi teased. She didn't expect to see him so soon, and looked like he just came out of a shinobi war. Hanabi-chan language, Hinata scolded, as she made her way out of the bedroom. Her hair looked wet, meaning she probably took a shower. What? He does. Look for yourself. Hanabi said, pointing at Naruto. Hinata turned to him, and would have averted her eyes had it not been for his disheveled form. Hey Hinata-chan, Naruto greeted me. God, he was tired. Naruto-kun, are you okay? Hinata asked in worry. He looked awful. Yeah, just fangirls trying to get in my pants, Naruto said with a grin. Hinata didn't take it that well, and frowned. She knew this was coming soon enough, competition. She didn't like this one bit. Now there was a chance that she could really lose him to a more open and exotic girl who would strive to obtain Naruto-kun's attention. She froze. Did she really call Naruto hers? Well, she wanted him, damn it. She felt so jealous right now, but she pushed that feeling aside for the moment. I don't get what they see in you though, Hanabi said cheekily. Me neither, Naruto replied. He really looked ready to pass out, and Hinata wanted to take care of that. Naruto-kun, you need to sleep, Hinata said. Once she asked him out on that date, it was as if a huge burden lifted off her shoulders, and she felt more confident in herself. She was still shy around him, but it was getting better to handle her emotions. She wanted to know how his mission went, but that would have to happen another time. Nah, it's okay, snore. Hinata caught him before he hit the floor. God, he was heavy. All those years off training really did him good, judging from what she was feeling. God, what was wrong with her? Groping her crush. She wasn't a pervert. She dragged him with difficulty to the bedroom, and put him to bed. She hesitated at first, but then lightly caressed his cheek, and watched, as he purred cutely. It was so much easier to do the things she wanted when he wasn't looking at her or aware of her presence. It was nothing sexual, but it felt intimate. She smiled at him, then left the room. Wow, those fangirls must be really tough, Hanabi said sarcastically. Yeah, Hinata said in thought. This wasn't looking good for her. Don't worry, Hinata. None of them could even compare to you, and besides, you're the one who's actually going out with him. You live with him too. No one else can say those things, Hanabi said, sensing Hinata's doubt. Thanks, Hanabi-chan, Hinata said gratefully. Hanabi really had changed. What are sisters for? Hanabi shrugged, but she did give a genuine smile towards Hinata. So I wanted to ask. The courage. Did you cook it yourself? Hinata asked Hanabi. Well, not really, Hanabi said. She was getting nervous. She didn't want Hinata to get upset. Oh, then who helped you? Hinata asked. She already knew Hanabi couldn't be this good when making this dish, so she wanted to know who the person that helped was, so she could thank them for helping her little sister. Well, Hanabi said with her voice wavering. Well? Hinata raised an eyebrow. This was interesting. A woman named Saya helped me, Hanabi said, averting her eyes. I don't know anyone in the compound by that name, Hinata said, frowning. Well, she isn't from the compound, Hanabi bit her lip. How do you know her then? Hinata asked. I met her today before you found me, Hanabi said. A stranger? Hinata asked, as she eyed Hanabi. I'm sorry, Hinata, but she was really nice, and she didn't do anything to me. She helped me make this for you. I promise you that you'd like her, Hanabi said in a pleading voice. Hanabi, when you're outside the compound, you shouldn't just make friends with anybody. They could be spies trying to steal our bloodline and hurt you because you're heirs. I am not happy with this, Hinata said seriously. I'm sorry, Hinata, but I swear she wouldn't harm me. Hanabi said. How do you know this? Hinata asked. I just do, Hanabi said, not really sure. Sayu and I are going to see this woman tomorrow. I want to know exactly who we're dealing with, Hinata said. Sorry, Hanabi said. She knew Hinata was disappointed in her, but when she saw the woman herself, then she would know how nice the lady was. You're safe, and that's all that matters, Hinata said lovingly. She didn't like the fact that Hanabi was seeing strangers, but she would sort that out soon. Naruto-kun, he didn't feel like opening his eyes to whatever was calling him, so he just mumbled in his sleep. Naruto-kun, the voice whined cutely. Ramen, Naruto said, still deep in his sleep. But well, I tried the easy way, the voice said, and the next thing Naruto knew, he felt ice-cold water thrash on his face. Naruto had shot his feet in alarm. He then realized he was in the mindscape with Kurama lying on her butt and glaring at him. You scared me, she shouted. Naruto stopped his apology when he noticed the bucket next to her. His brow twitched in annoyance. Did you put water on me? He asked, glaring back. Kurama looked bashful, but quickly composed herself. That's not important. We need to talk, Kurama stated, deciding to dodge the subject. About what? Naruto asked. Kurama said. What about it? Naruto asked seriously. He knew that thing was in Hitomi already. Do you remember the history behind it? Kurama asked. I kinda forgot, Naruto replied honestly while scratching his head. Figures. We'll leave that for later. This is a big issue with Naruto. Not many people know about the Jubi and what it can do, but I for one haven't been truthful in revealing information about it, Kurama said. When she was a fox it didn't seem like an interesting subject, but now that thing is back, and that could be really dangerous. All I know is that thing is a monster, and I'm going to destroy it, Naruto said with as much confidence as he could master. Naruto, that thing is the reason that exists. It contains the Sharingan, and so many powers. If it is allowed to transform into its final stage, then it would contain the forbidden fruit, and that is the most dangerous of all, Kurama said seriously. Why? Naruto asked scaredly. When Kurama was serious, then nothing was a laughing matter. The fruit itself has the potential to make the wielder into the equivalent of a deity with its power, Kurama said. Wow. Naruto said, shocked. Something that could make you close to a god. That was just so wrong. Not just that, but if the Jubi were to be allowed into its final stage in the real world, then no one but the Sage of Six Paths could stop it from destroying the world, since it alone holds more power than all the Biju combined, Kurama said. Wow, and he thought things couldn't get bad enough. While people were busy focusing on what they will do with their loved ones at the spring festival, he was worried about the existence of human life in general. He really hated this job sometimes. Naruto-kun, you don't have to come with us, Hinata said nervously while standing behind Hanabi and holding her shoulders gently. Hinata had gone to Hanabi's room in the Hyuga compound and had carefully taken Hanabi, with the assistance of Niji, from the Hyuga compound to the apartment so they could properly get ready to see Saya. They were all ready to go until Naruto had come out of the bedroom, already done with his morning routine, and asked what they were doing, in which she gave him the answer, and he suggested they come along. So now here they were, trying not to burden him with what they were about to do, but for some reason Naruto refused to listen to them. Don't worry. I can provide backup if anything's fishy, Naruto said cheerfully. It's not like we need it. Saya's just one woman moron, Hanabi said irritably. She wanted to get this over with as soon as possible, and Naruto was just delaying progress. Don't be rude, Hanabi. Naruto-kun, I'm sure there isn't anything to worry about, Hinata said, trying her best to convince him not to worry himself. Just in case, guys, Naruto said with a thumbs up, and Hanabi just threw her hands up in defeat. Okay, Hinata said. She was pretty confused why Naruto was insisting on accompanying them. Naruto didn't even know why he wanted to go with them, but he couldn't really help it. Just the thought of anything happening to either Hinata or Hanabi made him uncomfortable. He knew they could take care of themselves, how they've both been trained in the Hyuga style of fighting, but he still couldn't stop himself. He was sure he heard Kurama that time, but he couldn't call her on it. They walked together on the street of Konoha in awkward silence. Hanabi was walking in front, while Naruto and Hinata walked side by side. Hanabi took a glance at them, and was momentarily shocked. Hinata was blushing, and looking pretty shy right now, probably because she was really close to Naruto that they would bump and touch each other on occasion, and Naruto. He looked as oblivious as ever, but he did smile at Hinata, and ask her, in a soft voice, if she was okay many times, and that's what shocked Hanabi so much. Naruto was being attentive. He was making sure Hinata was comfortable, and taking glances at her when she wasn't looking. God, they actually looked like a couple just starting out. Hinata looked like the nervous girlfriend that was afraid of saying or doing something to mess up, and Naruto looked like the confident boyfriend who would protect Hinata, but failed in hiding his own nervousness. How does she miss this? Did they even know it themselves? Wow, Hanabi whispered in astonishment. This was just way too weird for her. What's wrong, Hanabi? Hinata asked worriedly. Nothing. Hanabi said a little too quickly for Hinata's taste, but Hinata decided not to pry. We should be coming to Saya's place soon, Hanabi said looking straight ahead. Right, Naruto said seriously. He didn't really know where they were headed, and he didn't even know this Saya person, but he wouldn't let Hinata and Hanabi just go there by themselves. Even he didn't know where on earth that train of thought came from. They approached a small house that Hanabi could immediately identify. That's the place, Hanabi said. Looks normal to me, Naruto said confusedly. Hanabi knocked on the door, and they all waited a few seconds before the door opened, and on the other side was Saya. Hanabi-chan. Who are your friends? Saya asked curiously. Actually, this is my sister Hinata, and that's her friend Naruto, Hanabi said. Yo, Naruto waved cheerfully. My name is Saya. It is very nice to meet you all, Saya said, as she bowed. It is nice to meet you too, Saya-san, Hinata bowed in return. Something about Saya was strange. The moment Hinata looked into Saya's eyes, she immediately felt a connection, deep within her. Something about Saya seemed so familiar, but she couldn't tell if her assumption was correct, or if it was just her imagination. Forgive me for not welcoming you into my home sooner, Saya said, as she motioned for them to come inside. They all took their seats on the sofas. Would you like anything to drink? Saya asked politely. No thank you, Saya-san. We actually came to thank you for helping Hanabi, Hinata said, then shifted a bit nervously when she realized her thigh was touching Naruto's leg. Oh, it was no problem at all. She is a very delightful child, Saya said warmly while looking at Hanabi. Are you sure that's the same Hanabi you're talking about? Naruto joked that he was met with an elbow to the gut from the irate Hyuga heiress. I'm positive about Naruto-kun, Saya said warmly. Naruto was a bit surprised that Saya was using such a personal honorific so soon, but he wasn't complaining. She seemed like a really nice lady. I have to admit I have never seen you around Konoha. Are you new to the village? Hinata asked curiously. She needed to know everything about this woman who had been seeing Hanabi. Not really. I moved here a few months ago, but I'm still trying to adjust, Saya said. She knew exactly what her daughter was trying to do. Which village did you belong to before you moved here? Hinata asked. I wasn't born in any village. I traveled a lot before I came to Konoha, so it's safe to say that I'm not aligned with any village that could become Konoha's enemy, Saya smiled. So how are you finding Konoha? Is it better than all those other places you've been to? Naruto asked. I can't really put it into words, but I'd prefer Konoha over the rest, Saya said. Have you ever tried Ichiraku's ramen? Naruto asked with an excited grin. Here we go, Hanabi whispered, as she rolled her eyes. Here they were trying to get to know the woman, and Naruto had to bring ramen into the picture. I can't say I have Naruto-kun, Saya said, struggling not to grin. He was Minato's son alright. You should try it. There are so many flavors. I'll list them off for you. Naruto was cut off with a hand landing tentatively and hesitantly on his own. Naruto-kun, I don't think we should be talking about ramen right now, Hinata said nervously. She mentally gave herself a pat on the back. She was getting bolder. She was touching him now, and she wasn't fainting, even if she still felt a bit lightheaded. This only meant one thing, she was starting to get used to him, she hoped. She's right, Naruto-kun. We could talk about that later, but right now I want to get to know all of you, Saya said. They talked for a long time, getting to know more about each other, Saya giving them practice details on her past before she came to Konoha. Hitomi was delighted to know that her babies had gotten closer since she died, and she was proud of Hinata. She may have seemed shy and nervous, but when it came to looking after Hanabi, and Hinata was a different person altogether, she was a big sister. Hitomi could see the protective attitude Hinata exuded when it came to Hanabi, and she could see the love each of them had for each other. Hanabi could hide it well, but nothing could ever escape a mother. The conversation seemed to be going well, but that changed soon enough. Some people in Konoha are pretty cool, but the ones you should keep away from are those Hyuga fart bags. Naruto whispered the last part loudly, enough for everyone to hear. Hanabi rolled her eyes again, but she didn't disagree. Oh? Aren't the Hyuga clan considered royalty in Konoha? Saya asked. Yeah, and I think that's the problem. They let it get to their heads, and develop huge egos, Naruto said, emphasizing his words with hand movements. Like you? Hanabi jabbed. Hey. I'm not that bad, Naruto said with a frown. Now Naruto-kun. I'm sure the Hyuga clan aren't that bad, Saya said. She was a bit confused on why Hinata and Hanabi didn't voice their disagreement when Naruto called the Hyugas fart bags. Are you kidding me? They're the ones who torture their own people, Naruto said. He was getting angry just think about it. Saya paused, as her eyes whitened slightly. How on earth could she forget? The caged bird seal, that cursed seal. Her mouth dried up a little, as she thought of it. Only branch members were branded with that seal, and it was tradition to brand the second born of the current Hyuga head, which she knew was still Hiashi, but upon looking at Hanabi she saw no seal. She mentally sighed in relief. If Hiashi ever branded any of her children, then nothing in the world would stop her from killing him. She made him promise to look after them before she passed away, and it seemed that he had kept to his word. Oh, how wrong she was. How awful. I heard that they use a cursed seal on their very own people, and only the branch faction of the Hyuga clan get it, Saya said in sadness. It was truly sad how the Hyuga clan operated. Her heart went out to all those that suffered at the hands of that disgusting seal, but soon she will change that by taking away all chakra. Not even heiresses are safe, Hanabi whispered while looking at Hinata sadly. Hinata smiled warmly at Hanabi, but kept to herself. Saya saw this, and her relief quickly turned to dread. Alarm bells were ringing in her head. A lot of people wouldn't think too much on Hanabi's words, but Saya wasn't someone you would link to a lot of people. Something definitely happened, and it didn't seem good either. She looked at Hinata, and saw her wearing her forehead protector. Her fears only increased. Shinju, do you sense any chakra from my daughter's forehead? Hitomi asked in trepidation. Which one? Shinju wanted to toy with the woman for a little while. You know which one, you stupid tree. Hitomi thought in a panic. You little know, I do not sense any chakra, Shinju grumbled. Saya was not relieved in the least. Her maternal instincts were blaring, something happened, she just knew, and, as difficult as it was, she had to make sure. I heard that one of the children, who are heirs to the Hyuga clan, are branded with the curse seal, as well, Saya said carefully. Well, everyone in Konoha seems to know that these days. Yeah, it's true, it's tradition. Originally, since I am heiress, and the second born, then I was meant to have the bird seal placed on me, Hanabi said looking down. You're heiress, and the second born. But you don't seem to be cursed with that thing, Saya said. No, but that didn't stop father from branding. It was hard to talk about such a matter because it brought back a lot of unwelcome memories. I'm sorry, Saya-san, but it is a very delicate subject, Hinata said, even though she felt drained just by thinking about it. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to pry, Saya said. It's alright. Thank you for welcoming us into your home, but I'm afraid we have to leave now, Hinata said. Thank you for coming, Saya said with a grateful smile. As soon as the group left, Hitomi's mood dropped. Hiashi couldn't have done that. He was her husband, their father. He loved his children, didn't he? She wasn't even sure. She always loved putting everyone in a good light, but now she was struggling to think of her husband as anything else than a Hyuga head. She decided to do some much-needed digging into the activities of the Hyuga clan. Something is definitely wrong here. So what do we do now? Naruto asked when he realized that there was awkward silence. Aren't we going back to the apartment? Hinata asked curiously. Come on. I got the whole day off, and staying in that apartment will be so boring. Naruto whined. We could, curses, she was coming up with blanks. Hinata desperately tried to think of something, but it was becoming hopeless. You guys could always go to the park, Hanabi suggested. But I can't train in the park, Naruto said. Not for training, you idiot. Just to relax, Hanabi said irritably at the blonde. I don't know. What do you think of Hinata-chan? Naruto asked. I'd like that, Hinata whispered so low that she was sure nobody heard her. She was surprised, however, when Naruto replied. Okay, if that's what you want, then let's go, Naruto said with a grin. Yeah, I'm going home, Hanabi said. You're not coming with us? Naruto asked. Please. There was a crowd, Hanabi scoffed, and then left for the Hyuga compound. What does she mean by that? Naruto asked Hinata, who was blushing heavily. Let's just go, Hinata said quickly. She did not want to explain Hanabi's reasoning. Sure, Naruto said he was still confused. No freaking way, Ino said, as she exited the flower shop and spotted Naruto with Hinata. Ino couldn't believe her eyes. This had to be a dream. Naruto and Hinata together. This just seemed so impossible. When did Hinata get the courage to approach the blonde, and since when wasn't Naruto oblivious to a woman's affection? Ino felt like she was watching a fantasy movie. This could not be real. Well, I'll be damned. The idiot finally figured it out, Shikamaru said, as he approached Ino. He was looking at the couple too. Where's Shoji? Ino asked curiously. Barbecue restaurant, was all Shikamaru said. Oh yeah, well, it's time to figure out what's going on between those two, Ino said. Come on, Ino, just leave them be, Shikamaru said irritably. You must be joking, Shika, Ino said, as she made her way to Naruto and Hinata. Troublesome, Shikamaru grumbled, as he followed Ino. Naruto Uzumaki. Ino shouted, getting the attention of the couple. Hey Ino-chan, Naruto said cheerfully. Hello Ino, Hinata greeted me, as well. When your clone said that you were taken, I could have never thought it to be true, but the proof is standing right in front of me, Ino said seriously. Taken? What do you mean? Naruto asked, confused. You idiot. I'm talking about you and Hinata dating, Ino said irritably. How stupid was he? Oh that. Yeah, Hinata and I are going on a date, Naruto said. He thought she was talking about the spring festival. Hinata's head whipped in his direction. Did she just hear him right? So it's true. You're taken, Ino said, and her ego deflated a little bit. When Naruto's clone told her that Naruto was already taken, she thought he was lying to her, but obviously it was the truth. To think it took you this long, Naruto. How true. Shikamaru was stopped with another death glare from Ino. Well, I'm happy for you guys. Come on Shika, Ino said, and didn't even wait for Shikamaru before she left. So I guess I'll be seeing you guys at the festival, right? Shikamaru asked. Yeah, but most of the time it's just going to be me and Hinata-chan, alone together, Naruto said, smiling softly at the blushing lavender girl. Wow, even I have to admit I never saw this coming. See you around guys, Shikamaru said, and then left to find Ino. Come on Hinata, we still got a park to go to, Naruto said. Hinata was still on the fact that Naruto said that they were going on a date. Was this a date? Naruto said they were going on one, right? Naruto-kun? Hinata asked. Yeah? Naruto asked. Are we going on a date now? Hinata asked confusedly. Naruto paused and thought about what she said. A day before the spring festival. That didn't sound bad at all. He was starting to feel something for Hinata that he was sure he never felt before. She was such a beautiful girl, everything about her was attractive, and Naruto didn't delude himself into thinking otherwise. The more he thought about it, the more it became appealing to think of the possibility of going out with Hinata, as more than just friends. After spending time with her, at his apartment and outside, his interest in her increased. He shook his head, no need for such thoughts. What would Hinata think if she knew what he was thinking right now? Well, it is just the two of us. If you want, we could make this a practice date, Naruto suggested. In all honesty, he was becoming very much aware of the females that were interested in him, but he didn't feel the same way about them. He didn't really know what he felt about Hinata, but he was sure he would figure it out soon. You're almost there. Now he knew that was Kurama. Aha. I knew I wasn't hearing voices, Naruto thought in irritation. Beagle, I never said you were Naruto-kun, Kurama said, and Naruto could feel the grin she was sporting in his mindscape. What's the deal with you? Naruto asked confusedly. My secret, Kurama giggled, then cut off the link. Naruto grumbled. Kurama was messing with him again. Are you okay, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked in worry. Yeah, I'm fine. Let's go, Naruto said, as he took Hinata's hand and led her to the park. Kurama smirked from within the mindscape. Naruto didn't even know it, he was starting to fall for the former Hyuga heiress. She couldn't wait to see what would happen at the spring festival. On top of a building near the couple were two figures wearing black. Well, that was surprising, the first figure said. Yes, let's just hope Hiashi-sama won't get too angry with this information, the second figure said. Hopefully he won't get upset. Besides, they're sisters. Communication between them was inevitable, the first said. True. Tsunade slumped in her seat, she was getting too old for this. The cages were able to communicate to each other by letter, and it was agreed to work together on this problem without causing mass panic. There haven't been any reports on the Jubi except from Suna, so some of the cages were a bit skeptical in believing the Jubi had returned, but Tsunade knew better than not to believe this. She sighed in frustration. Her efforts to postpone the spring festival were rejected. Most of the people around the shinobi nations will be attending it, Hal even the cages, and daimyo. She vehemently disagreed to it, stating that they will all be huge targets for the Jubi to suck out their chakra, and they would be leaving their villages at the mercy of the 10-tailed beast. They countered by stating that they would leave as much shinobi to protect their respective villages, and to use body teleportation, which was similar, but weaker than that, to come to the aid of their villages if need be. So now here she was, drinking her finest sake, and not caring who saw her. She just prayed that this didn't backfire in their faces, because if it did, then they were all in deep trouble. The Spring Festival, the biggest event of the year, where friends and loved ones come together to enjoy, make lasting memories, and bear spectacle to the many different events and games on offer. Children are free to play around and not fear, because this event is taken very seriously and is looked upon by the Anbu of all villages combined to ensure everyone is protected, especially the daimyo, who already had his own royal guard to begin with. It was held in an area that had no alliance with any of the villages belonging to the Land of Fire. This way any village would not be deterred in coming to this event and enjoying themselves. The place was big enough to pass as 2 villages in order to accommodate all visitors. It also held a clear field where people could play the many games or enjoy a nice relaxing picnic on the lush green grass. Tents were provided for the most important people, varying in size due to different ranks, and the daimyo was honored with the biggest one. There were dozens of hotels, motels, and bed and breakfasts, so people would have places to stay for the remainder of the festival. Ever since all the villages created an alliance, therefore a truce, this event has been heavily supported by them all to ensure that it runs smoothly and creates further bonds between them. This year was by far the biggest turnout in the event's history. So many people from different places come just to enjoy the events, and not even remotely focus on past battles and wars with former enemy villages. You know, when you told me that you were going out with Choji, I thought you were joking, Shikamaru said, earning a glare from the blonde. When you told me you were serious, well, I still thought you were trying to make me laugh. He got an elbow to the ribs from Tamari. But looking at you now, I can honestly say that you guys make a pretty good pair, which in itself is troublesome. If he just didn't say those last words, then they would have felt touched. Tamari would let it pass for now. They were walking side by side in pairs, Shikamaru and Tamari to the left, Choji and Ino to the right. Shikamaru was wearing a gray kimono with green highlights. Tamari was wearing a blue kimono, which had sandy waves at the bottom that matched her hair. It hugged her figure quite nicely. She had a pinch of eyeshadow and pink lipstick. Her hair was straightened and went to her waist. Choji wore a dark red kimono. His appearance was no different from there. Ino wore a purple kimono that fit perfectly to show her enticing curves. She had put on light lipstick. Her hair was done in a beautiful bun that was held together by 2 chopstick pins. Now even if I was just a consolation, at least I got to come to this place, Choji said happily. The food they had to offer at the spring festival was endless. Ino knew Choji, she was his teammate. She could easily tell that he was hurt with what Shikamaru said. She cringed. The way Shikamaru said it made Choji seem like a desperate pick, and it made her feel like a jerk. She quickly tugged Choji's sleeve. We'll see you guys later, Ino said quickly, as she led a surprised Choji away from Shikamaru and Tamari. Why did you say that? That was so rude, Tamari said, glaring at Shikamaru. Look, it isn't fair on Choji to be picked as a last resort. Ino needs to know that she can't just mess with people's feelings like that, Shikamaru said, closing his eyes. So what? You want to guilt trip her? Tamari asked. Yep, I'm pretty sure she's probably feeling bad, and she's trying to sort it out with Choji right now. Who knows? Maybe we'll catch them making out later, Shikamaru said indifferently. You're right, Tamari said sarcastically. 100 Ryo says they do, Shikamaru said indifferently. I bet. You're such a lazy genius, and you owe me a make-out session later, Tamari smirked. It would be fun to put Shikamaru down a peg. Wow. This place is huge, Naruto said while walking around with Hinata. Yeah, it is, Hinata whispered in awe. Naruto was wearing an orange kimono with black highlights. Hinata was wearing a lavender kimono that had white feathers at the back, a purple sash, and matching purple highlights, which outlined her well-developed body, but still managed to keep her modesty intact. Her beautiful lavender hair was straight and done to outline her face, but not lose its overall appeal. Her headband was nowhere in sight. So what do you want to do on our little date? Naruto asked her while staring at the many games and prizes. Hinata truly wanted to just go and have a nice picnic together, but she was afraid that he wouldn't like that idea and thought of her as boring. What would you like to do? She asked timidly. So far the date was off to a very rough start. Well, Naruto, Hinata-sama. Ha. Oh hey Nej, Tenten-chan, Naruto greeted me. Hello Niji Nai-san, Tenten-san, and Hinata. Niji was wearing a white kimono. Tenten was wearing a pink kimono and had a little makeup, but her overall appearance appears to not have changed too drastically. Could I talk to you, Naruto? Niji asked, but even Naruto could tell that it wasn't a request. Sure, Naruto said, as he followed Niji around a corner. Good, that just leaves the two of us, Tenten said to the nervous girl. Yeah, Hinata shifted. Does he know? Tenten knew Hinata understood what she was talking about. No, Hinata said sadly. You guys are on a date, and he still doesn't know. Tenten asked. It's not that easy, Hinata said. You're going to tell him, it came out as more of an order. You're going to tell him, today, Tenten continued seriously. Enough is enough, Hinata. You've loved that man before anyone else. You're not being fair to yourself. You're going to tell him. Hinata had never known a time when Tenten was this serious. I already did once, Hinata stated sadly. In the battle with Pain. Yeah, Niji told me what you told him, Tenten said. Who else knows about this? Hinata asked interpretation. Everyone, sorry, Tenten said with a sheepish grin. Hinata's head dropped. But we're all rooting for you. You guys would be great together, but first things first. Woman up, girl. Get a backbone and get your man. You deserve happiness, and I've seen how happy he makes you. You can do this, Hinata, Tenten said confidently. Hinata was reminded of the talk she had with Naruto, and she gulped. I'll try. Don't try, just do it, Tenten said with finality. What? Naruto asked, shocked. I asked if you're in love with Hinata. Niji asked irritably. He had been trying to get Naruto's true feelings to the surface, but the idiot was so oblivious that Niji had to give up with a delicate approach and just get it over with. Think carefully before you answer me, Niji said seriously, stopping Naruto from babbling something that was probably stupid. Naruto thought of what he said. Did he love Hinata? There must be something there since he didn't immediately say no when Niji asked him. After everything he had experienced with Hinata, and after a talk he had with Kurama yesterday, on emotions and feelings, he actually had a better grasp on the concept, not by much, but at least he improved a bit. He remembered the Pain incident when she confessed her love for him. He scolded himself for actually forgetting it, and wondered if Hinata was angry at him for such a thing. She didn't seem angry. Hell, she asked him out on a date, and that's when he finally understood the reason. She loved him, even if this was the second revelation he had of Hinata's feelings towards him. The shock was still very prominent. He was such an idiot, a huge idiot. How could he not figure it out sooner? He completely disregarded her feelings. He felt like crap. Any day now. Oh right, he was still on his feelings towards Hinata. Did he love her? He had always gone through Hinata's positives. She was so perfect to him, but did he love her? He wasn't sure that he could actually admit that he had fallen for her, but after spending so much time with the former Hyuga heirs, he was sure of one thing. I think I'm starting to, Naruto said honestly. He didn't doubt his answer because he knew it was the truth. If Niji had asked that question a month ago, then he would have probably labeled Hinata as just a good friend, but it seemed things were different now. You think? Niji asked, raising an eyebrow. Okay, I am starting to fall for her, happy. Naruto snapped, surprising himself, but Niji just smirked at him. Yes, actually I am. You have to tell her, Niji said. But what if she doesn't feel? Niji glared at him, and Naruto knew exactly why. He was about to ask a really stupid question. Tell her. Come on, I have to get back to Tenten, Niji said, as they made their way back to the girls. Well, we should leave you two together, Tenten said, as she grabbed Niji to leave the nervous couple alone, but Niji left some parting words. Oh, by the way, you heard her, and you die, Niji said, glaring at Naruto, as Tenten tugged him away. What is he talking about? Hinata asked curiously. Hahaha. Nothing. Naruto laughed nervously. Hinata was suspicious of what happened between Naruto and Neji, but decided not to pry. Come on, Naruto said suddenly, as he took Hinata's hand and went to one of the many games on offer. Hi. Win a teddy bear for your girlfriend. The girl at the booth asked, as she saw the couple approach. Great idea, Naruto said. Hinata blushed. The way Naruto sounded it was, as if he actually thought of her as his girlfriend, but that was impossible. He must have taken what the lady said as something different, like he always did when it came to stuff like this. How do I play? Naruto asked, as he looked around. Just hit all those bottles, and you win. You'll get 3 chances with these balls, the girl said, indicating to all the stacks of bottles, which were placed as 3 pyramids, and the 3 balls on the counter. Alright, Naruto said with a grin. Naruto took the 3 balls, and effortlessly took out all the pyramids of bottles. Let me guess, you're a shinobi. It was more of a statement from the girl, but Naruto didn't get that. Yep. Naruto chirped. Well, you won fair and square. So what teddy bear do you want? The girl asked. Hinata-chan, pick one. Naruto smiled at the surprised Hyuga girl. Hinata blushed and averted her eyes, but she did pick a teddy bear, not too big and not too small, just the right size to hug. Nice pick. So did you figure out what you want to do now? Naruto asked curiously. It had been coming for a while now, and she knew she couldn't wait any longer. It was time to confess. Could we go to the field for a picnic? Hinata asked. Sure, anything you want, Naruto said softly while staring deeply into her eyes. Hinata thought she was going to lose it and faint. Why was he looking at her like that? She was confused and lightheaded. They made their way to the field that was filled with couples, families, friends, even kids running around and playing. It was a touching sight, Hinata mused. Naruto bought a blanket from a nearby store and then picked a nice place for them to sit on the lush grass. Oh man. I forgot the food, Naruto facepumped. It's okay Naruto-kun, I already got some, Hinata said, as she held out a picnic basket. She bought the food when he wasn't looking. Wow, it seems that you think ahead, said Naruto sheepishly. Hinata smiled back, she felt great with the praise. They sat and talked together. Hinata was still as timid as ever, and Naruto seemed to be the same oblivious idiot. But after a while, Hinata knew it was finally time. If she didn't tell him now, then she would never in the future. Naruto-kun? Hinata asked tentatively. Yeah, Hinata-chan. Naruto asked. So many months of waiting. So many months of getting to know him, and that only fueled Hinata's resolve. She took a breath, and finally started. When I was a child, I always thought of myself as a failure and a disgrace. I couldn't do anything to please my father, and nobody would even talk to me because I was so shy and timid. It was getting easier now to talk freely, but it wasn't over yet. The academy was no different. I felt so alone, so lost, like I had no reason to live. She quickly looked at him to make sure he was listening, as was surprised that he actually was. Then I met you, the one they all called the dead last loser, the one that everybody deemed worthless except for me, Hinata said looking at him in the eye. She wavered, but still held her gaze. Hinata-cha, please Naruto-kun, I have to say this. Even when the world was against you, you never gave up, you fought every step of the way, and in doing so you inspired everyone you met, and I was no different. You were the pillar of my strength. I used you as my inspiration to become stronger, to become something that was worthy, but in the end it was so you would notice me. Hinata, let me finish. I had a crush on you. I wanted you to see me, and only me, so I used your perseverance and strength to aid me in becoming better, which ultimately was the wrong thing to do, so I started training without seeking your strength, Hinata said sadly. Why? Naruto decided to play along. This sounded really interesting. Because it wasn't my own strength, because I'll just end up being behind you when all I ever wanted to be was your equal, to stand by your side not only in support but I in love, as well. I love you Naruto-kun, and I'm in love with you. She did it, she finally confessed. It was way easier than she remembered. So this was it, this was the moment she had been waiting for, and she was petrified. She didn't even look at him when she waited for his reply. Hinata-chan. Hinata looked at Naruto, and was surprised to see the look on his face. It was so comforting. I know, Naruto finished. You know? Hinata asked hesitantly. How did he know? More importantly, how long had he known? You confessed before, remember? When pain invaded, Naruto clarified while smiling warmly at her. Oh, Hinata said in realization. To be honest, she thought he forgot about that confession altogether. I can't say that I love you the same way, she knew it. He was rejecting her. She wanted to die, she really wanted to die. There wasn't a purpose to live anymore. She wished she never told him, maybe then she could have stopped the heartbreak. Tears were gathering, and threatening to fall at any moment. She would have just ran away if a hand didn't land on her shoulder. She reflexively looked at Naruto, and now she was struggling not to bawl her eyes out. But I can honestly say that I'm falling for you. A month ago I wouldn't have thought of you as anything other than a close friend, but now, after spending so much time getting to know you, I realize that I feel something for you that I've never felt for anyone else, not even Sakura-chan. Maybe in time I'll come to love you the same way you love me, if you're willing to give us a try, Naruto said, eyeing her. Hinata couldn't hold in her shock. She was already set on just living with a broken heart, but what he said, could it be? You mean? Yeah, I want us to go out more, you know, like a couple. Will you have me as your boyfriend? As soon as the words left his mouth he was tackled by Hinata. Yes. Hinata screamed in unrestrained joy. Tears were flowing freely from her eyes, but they were out of pure happiness, as she buried her face on Naruto's chest. Wow, was the only thing Naruto could think. She really wanted this. He was actually a bit doubtful if she really was in love with him or just crushing on him, but his doubts were gone now. Hinata really loved him. Finally. God, it took you forever to figure it out. You knew? Naruto asked his tenant. Everybody knew, but you. I love you, Naruto-kun, but you're the biggest idiot I have ever met. Kyuubi huffed. Hey. Naruto said indignantly, but the link was already severed. Hinata-chan, can I get up now? Naruto said. Oh sorry. Hinata quickly said, and got off of him. She was too happy to care about anything. She was blushing so hard that she was surprised that she didn't pass out. So I guess we're a real couple now, Naruto mused. He liked that, he liked it a lot. Hinata couldn't finish because she was still in shock, it was too good to be true. Can you what? Naruto asked curiously. Can I lay on your shoulder? She knew it sounded sappy, like a cheesy romance movie, but she had waited so long for this day, and Naruto was the only one she ever wanted to experience this with. You my girlfriend now, right? Naruto said with a grin. Hinata beamed at him, she came closer, and hesitated just for a second before she snuggled into Naruto with a dreamy sigh. I've always dreamed of this, she whispered with her eyes closed. Her life couldn't be any more perfect. Naruto smiled warmly at her, and adjusted so she could get comfortable. This felt nice, it was as if Hinata was made for him, her warm delicate figure fit him like a glove. He looked on, as kids ran around, and played while their parents watched them, things seemed so peaceful. Hanabi-chan, are you sure you're alright? Akane asked worriedly, as she looked at the Hyuga heirs. They were on the field that all the kids were using to have fun. Yeah, I'm fine, Hanabi lied. She felt like absolute crap. Ever since her father found out about her interaction with Hinata, he became more aggressive in her training. He would beat her to his heart's content, and Hanabi knew that he used their training sessions as an opportunity to punish her. Her body was so sore, and she had bruises everywhere, but she refused to show weakness to anyone, and used to cover up any evidence of the abuse she had endured, but now it seemed the pain was becoming too much for her. Why did Akane have to ask her to come to the spring festival? She should have said no, but now it was too late for that. Hanabi-chan, I think we should take you back to the main family tent, Akane said worriedly. Hanabi had seemed so off today. I don't need to go there. Hanabi gritted out, her body was aching, and she was struggling not to show any pain, and keeping her intact. I don't think you're okay, Akane frowned. Hanabi fell to the ground, and she was released. Hanabi-chan. Akane shouted fearfully, but froze when she witnessed Hanabi's form. Her lip was cut, she had a black eye, a swollen cheek, bruises all over her face, and Akane was sure she would see more if Hanabi wasn't clothed, so in short, she looked like she'd been beaten to a pulp. Akane screamed in horror, as tears fell from her eyes. Hanabi was her best friend, so to see her in this state was enough to bring Akane into hysteria. Her breathing was haggard, she struggled to move. A hand landed on her shoulder, and when Akane looked to her side, she saw a woman with brown hair and purple eyes looking at her seriously. Go find Hinata, quickly, she's somewhere on this field, the woman said. Akane looked from Hanabi to the woman, then at Hanabi again, she was afraid of leaving her. It's okay, I'm Saya, I know Hanabi, Saya said gently. It seemed that was enough for Akane, as she quickly rushed further into the field to find Hinata. Saya looked at Hanabi, and her face became unreadable, as she proceeded to heal her daughter, as gently and delicately as possible, taking note of any cuts and bruises. Sakura-san. Ha. Oh, hey Gar, Sakura greeted when she noticed Gar coming towards her. They were both in the town district of the festival. Sakura was wearing a dark red kimono, and her hair was done in a bun. She had a little makeup, so people could focus more on her face and eyes. Gar was in his standard clothing, choosing not to change his dress code just because of an event. I see that you're alone, most people came here with dates, Gar said in his direct and usual manner. Yeah, well, I guess I lost out. Most guys feel intimidated by a girl who can easily kill them with just one punch, Sakura said with a grin, but it didn't reach her eyes. So many people were already taken, even Rock Lee had a date. Gar eyed her for a moment, but decided not to comment on what she said. What about you? Where's your date? Sakura asked curiously. She of all people knew Gar had a ton of girls after him. I was given so many requests that in the end I opted to go alone, Gar said while closing his eyes. Oh, well now things seemed awkward, and Sakura didn't know how to break the tension, then an idea came to her. How about we enjoy the festival together? Sakura suggested. It didn't matter if he refused her offer, they were just friends, not lovers. Sounds like a plan, Gar said with a small smile. Sakura was surprised that he accepted her offer, she was prepared to just walk away, but it seemed fate had other ideas. Great. Let's see what games they got, Sakura said cheerfully, as she grabbed Gar, and led him to the different games. Come on Ino. I said it doesn't matter. Choji said exasperatedly. It hurt to be picked last, but at least this place had so much food that he didn't care about anything else. It does matter. I don't want you to think I picked you out of desperation, Ino said irritably. Ha, even if it was out of pity I'm cool with it. I'm just really hungry, Choji said, as started to drool. Ino wanted to slap him next week, but she had something to prove. A lot of guys asked me out, but I didn't say yes to any of them, I came to you. The blonde was starting to lose her patience with this fat meathead. Right after you knew Naruto was taken, yeah, Shikamaru told me, Choji said pointedly. Arg. Why would you believe that I came to you because I wanted you, huh? Ino screamed in anger. Because it doesn't make any sense. You said it yourself once, that you would never go out. Choji's eyes widened when Ino smashed her lips to his. This was definitely unexpected. Ino was actually surprised at her own actions. She wanted to shut Choji up and convince him at the same time, and it seems she might have achieved both. She wasn't the same person she was when she started out in the academy. She didn't just look at a guy's looks anymore, there was more to a guy than looks. She guessed Choji deserved better than to be treated like a doormat, so she kissed him in earnest. Choji was struggling to come to terms with what was happening, and in opening his mouth, he was even more surprised when Ino shoved her tongue in. This was way too weird for even him, but the kiss felt too good to pull away from, so he let his instincts take over, and kissed back. In the distance were Temari and Shikamaru, who only spotted the couple in the middle of their makeout session. I don't bloody believe it, Temari was left gaping at the scene. Ino and Choji were actually making out. How did that lazy idiot know this would happen? Wow, that was quicker than I thought, Shikamaru said with a raised eyebrow. He never thought that they would actually kiss each other, the bet was just for fun. How is it possible? Temari questioned in utter confusion, she just couldn't believe it. Sometimes life just throws you those surprises. Now pay up, Shikamaru said with an outstretched hand. You really owe me a make-out session now, Temari grumbled, as she handed him the money. Troublesome, Shikamaru said. What did I say about using that word? Temari asked sweetly with a glint in her eye. Crap. Naruto and Hinata were sitting together on the field. Hinata's head was on his shoulder, and his head was on her own. They both had their eyes closed, enjoying the moment. Hinata-sama. Naruto and Hinata quickly looked at who was calling, and saw Kane rushing to them. Do you know her? Naruto asked curiously. Yes, what is a Kane-chan? Hinata asked worriedly when she noticed Akane's was crying. Hanabi. Help. Akane choked out, as she struggled not to break down, and cried. Where is she? Hinata immediately asked, as soon as she registered Akane's words. Akane led them to where Hanabi was being held gently by a woman. Saya-san? Naruto asked when he recognized the woman. Naruto-kun, Hinata-chan, thank goodness you two are here, Saya said. Hinata, a voice said tiredly. Hinata quickly went and knelt beside her sister. Hanabi looked fine by all appearances, but Hinata knew better, something was wrong. Are you okay? Hinata asked Hanabi gently, and received a tired nod in response. She had numerous cuts and bruises all over her body, even internal damage, but I managed to heal all her wounds. Right now she's just exhausted and needs rest, Saya said. Thank you, Saya-san. What happened to Hanabi? Hinata turned her attention back to her sister. She was absolutely shocked with that information. Hanabi bit her lip, she didn't want to burden her sister with anything. Please Hanabi-chan, Hinata was desperate to know what happened to Hanabi, and how come she didn't see this before. Training, Hanabi rasped out, and closed her eyes. She was too exhausted to talk. Hinata immediately knew what Hanabi meant. Their father did this to her, and Hinata felt pure boiling fury. She stood up, and went to look for the Hyuga main family tent. Hinata-chan wait. Naruto implored while he rushed to catch up with Hinata, but he was stopped by the girl. Stay here and look after Hanabi. Naruto could actually feel the burning anger in her voice, and he didn't know what to do, but followed what she said. Hinata wasn't listening to anything or anyone. She had never been this angry before, and every other emotion was absent, as she made her way to the Hyuga's tent. She wanted blood. It seems to be an acceptable festival so far, one of the Hyuga elders said from within the tent. Yes, but the faster this event ends the better. I don't like to be near the likes of Kieri and Iwai, even with this alliance, Hiashi said in irritation. They were here for political reasons, to show that they had no hard feelings towards the other villages, so they could establish an overall trading link to increase profits and resources. There was a sudden commotion in the front of the tent, and Hiashi was surprised to see Hinata, glaring at him with hatred. You monster. Hinata spat, as her Byakugan blazed with fury. Two guards tried to stop her, but she easily beat the living daylights out of them for getting in her way. There was only one person she was after, her father. Hiashi had never seen such intensity in Hinata's eyes before, and even though it was a little unnerving, he still didn't fear his own pathetic daughter. Take her out of my sight, Hiashi ordered two more guards, who were better trained than the ones Hinata beat. They approached her, and she struggled, but they grabbed her wrists. She wasn't leaving without a fight though, as she continued to struggle in order to attack the man that had brought her so much pain. Your own child. Your own children. You disgraceful man. How could you hurt her? How could you hurt Hanabi? Wasn't hurting me enough for you? Her chakra was flaring quickly, increasing in intensity, as the guards struggled even harder to get her out of the tent. Enough of this, Hiashi said, as closed his eyes, and made a hand sign to activate Hinata's bird seal. No connection was established, and Hiashi's eyes flew open, and stared at Hinata in surprise. There was no sign of the bird seal anywhere, not even its residual chakra. It was, as if she was never branded at all. At first Hiashi thought Hinata had put on makeup to cover the seal, but it seemed that the seal was really gone. Impossible. How? Hiashi said in astonishment. PRG. Leave me be. Hinata struggled, as she tried to start a rotation, but the guards held on tightly. Enough, Hinata-chan. Your sister needs you most, Saya said, as she made her way into the tent. Hinata stopped struggling when she heard Saya's smooth, gentle voice. She took deep breaths to calm herself down, and realized that she needed to make sure Hanabi was alright. Mark my words, father, you and I are far from finished, Hinata said angrily. She quickly walked to Saya, and thanked her, then she left the tent. Quickly. Get that girl back in here. Hiashi ordered once the shock wore off. He needed to know how Hinata lost the seal. It shouldn't be possible. The guards made for the entrance, but Saya was blocking their way. So is this how the leader of the Hyuga clan acts? Picking on innocent children? Beating little girls? Saya asked with a small frown. She was livid that this man would harm her babies. She thought he would honor her death by looking after Hinata and Hanabi, but she was obviously wrong. He was just like any other Hyuga head that came before him, power-hungry and greedy. This doesn't concern you, peasant. Remove her, and get Hinata, Hiashi ordered his guards, who had paused. It is advisable not to touch me, Saya said calmly. Did you see that? What happened to the bird seal that we put on her? One of the elders asked, never noticing that she just sealed their fates. Hiashi was about to respond when his two guards suddenly fell in front of the woman, and she seemed to be taking their chakra. What is the meaning of this? Hiashi screamed in surprise when he saw what the woman was doing to his men. Why is Hiashi-kun so nervous? The woman said, as she stopped sucking out their chakra. The process was complete. When these two men woke up the next time, they realized there wasn't any chakra left in their systems. It was a bit easier to take someone's chakra, because she was slowly starting to get used to her abilities. Who are you? Hiashi asked in alarm, as he and some of the other main family members took fighting stances, and the Byakugans were ready. You don't remember me? I'm so hurt, Hiashi-kun, Saya said indifferently. I don't have time for your games. Answer my question. Hiashi commanded this intruder. I'll do you one better, Saya said, and released them. Hiashi actually gawked at what he saw. The same lavender hair, the same face, the same eyes Hinata had inherited. It was truly shocking to see his late wife. It can't be Hitomi? Hiashi asked in shock. He used his Byakugan to make sure that it was really her, and was even more surprised that he saw two chakra signatures coming from her body. One was definitely Hitomi's, but the other he couldn't really place it. Oh, it's me, Hiashi-kun. I'm not an illusion. Hitomi closed her eyes, and when she opened them again, her normal eyes were replaced with that of the Jubi, and you can bet that I'm going to kill you. For the last time, I'm fine, you idiot. Hanabi said exasperatedly. Honestly, she was a little touched that Naruto was making sure that she was alright, but the moron was annoying the hell out of her. He was treating her like some fragile object, and that did not suit her pride. Just relax until Hinata-chan gets here, okay? Don't work yourself too hard, Naruto said gently. I feel better. Geez, you're worse than Hinata, Hanabi sighed. Well, still Hinata. What happened to you? Naruto asked in concern when he saw the downhearted girl. Sorry for walking out on you, Naruto-kun. Hinata said with an apologetic frown. It's okay. Where did you go? Naruto asked confusedly. Hinata nibbled on her lip. She knew he wasn't aware of what was going on, or why Hanabi was injured to begin with. But she couldn't hide it from him. My father was the one responsible for what happened to Hanabi, Hinata said, a bit more angry than she would have liked. It didn't take long for Naruto to piece everything together, and a scowl formed on his face. Why? Naruto asked in confusion. Hinata had a few ideas for the reason concerning her father's treacherous acts. Most of them were not welcoming prospects. However, she felt that Naruto could be trusted with her current thoughts. He seemed to care a great deal for Hanabi. It was only fair. I think he found out about Hanabi coming to see me, and she trailed off in obvious discomfort. Just the very thought of anyone harming her little sister filled her with so much rage. He did this because of that, Naruto inquired incredulously. It was absolutely ridiculous. How can a father act that way? Naruto's view on the man was nothing else but negative at this point. Hiashi did not have any redeemable qualities after inflicting harm on not just one, but both his own children, which he should have protected. I'm not sure, but I think that might be the case, Naruto-kun, Hinata said with a disgruntled sigh. Why must they suffer so? Naruto's scowl turned fearful at that. So your dad thinks he can just hurt anyone he wants, huh? Well, I'll show him a thing or two. Naruto said fiercely, and started for the Hyuga main family tent. This was what Hinata was afraid of. Naruto was powerful, maybe even stronger than her own father. She knew Naruto had a tendency to be impulsive, and she did not want mass panic to ensue because of a family feud. Although she wanted Naruto to be involved in this, she just couldn't risk it. Naruto-kun, please wait. Hinata implored the fuming cage-level shinobi. Naruto stopped, and then turned his sight to the Hyuga girl. He looked at her questioningly, silently asking what the matter was. "Please, Naruto-kun. Don't do anything drastic," Hinata said. "Drastic? Nah, I'm just going to beat the crap out of him," Naruto said half-heartedly. Hinata knew he was serious. His face spoke volumes of his anger. It would be just to see her father pay for what he did to his children, but not at Naruto's expense. "Don't, Naruto-kun. I don't want this to get out of hand. I've already suffered enough at my father's hands. I don't need the same for Hanabi," Hinata said softly. Naruto let out a frustrated sigh. "The man has to pay, Hinata-chan. He put a curse seal on your head. He beat up Hanabi." At that his frown deepened. "He can't just get away with that. I know we'll tell Tsunade-sama. She will be able to deal with this predicament carefully." Hinata knew Naruto meant well, but Tsunade was the sensible prospect when it came to dealing with clan matters. Naruto stared at her fiercely for a moment, and his features softened. "I'm not doing this just for some kicks. I just don't want him hurting you anymore." Hinata quickly closed the gap between them. She hesitantly cupped his face with both her hands. She was still getting used to actually dating someone, mainly her lifelong crush. So it was easy to tell that she was still somewhat timid in some instances. "I know, Naruto-kun. That's one of the things I love about you. You're caring to no fault, but please, let us handle this delicately." "Fine." He just couldn't say no to those cute Hyuga eyes. She really was beautiful, and her touch felt so warm and inviting that Naruto didn't want it to end. That's when he felt something. It should have been something insignificant, but it wasn't. It was that chakra. Naruto's head whipped in the direction of the sensation, causing Hinata to stumble a bit. "What's wrong, Naruto-kun?" Hinata asked worriedly. Naruto's visage was anything but welcoming. He looked like he'd just seen a ghost. Naruto said nothing. He could feel it clearly now. The Jubi was here, which meant Hinata's. Hanabi coughed to get Hinata's attention. She kind of felt annoyed that she had been forgotten so quickly, and couldn't help the twinge of jealousy at seeing Hinata and Naruto so close together. She was happy for them, but she wanted time with her sister too, as much as possible. Hinata quickly looked at Hanabi, and rushed to her sister's aid. "Oh, Hanabi. Are you alright?" Hinata asked in concern. "Well, it took you long enough to notice me." "What? Now that you have Naruto, I'm not good enough for you," Hanabi muttered. She instantly regretted her words when she saw the hurt in Hinata's eyes. "I'm sorry. I'm just jealous," Hanabi whispered softly. It was hard enough admitting her weakness to Hinata, but she was getting used to it quite quickly. "Jealous?" Hinata asked. "Now that you're a couple, you won't have the time for me, no? Don't you ever think that? You're my sister. I will always be there for you. I might be busy now and then, but I will always have time for, and I will never abandon you. I love you," Hinata said strongly. She will not have Hanabi getting the wrong idea in this situation. Hanabi's eyes shimmered, but she stubbornly put up a strong front. That did not stop her from whispering, "I love you too." Hinata suddenly felt a tug that forced her to look in Naruto's direction. "Did you feel that?" Hanabi inquired in shock. Whatever that felt was very strong and evil. "Yeah," Hinata said, as she continued to stare at the blonde. "This was really bad. The Jubi was in the spring festival. How is it possible?" The situation had just become 10 times worse. This could lead to mass mayhem and possible deaths. Naruto-kun looked to see Hinata staring at him in shock and uncertainty. She must have felt the power too. "Just great." "What was that?" Hanabi asked. Hinata was familiar with the chakra of the Jubi, but something about it held a different familiarity. She was uncertain what it meant, but she could feel 2 chakra signatures, both which she was sure she felt before. One was the Jubi's, but the other was, crap. This is really bad. "Hinata-chan, stay here with Hanabi." Naruto was about to dash in Jubi's direction, but Hinata stopped him. "Naruto-kun, what's going on?" Hinata asked in trepidation. "There's no time to explain. Just get to safety." Hinata still looked unconvinced. "If you're in danger, then I'm coming with you." "What? No. Just get." "I'm coming with you, Naruto-kun," Hinata said more firmly. She will hear none of it. They were finally together, and she refused to let anything tear them apart. "Fine. But Hanabi stays out of this." "What? I can handle myself, you." "I mean it." Naruto snarled with finality. Hanabi was surprised with how serious and fierce Naruto looked. She didn't even know he had this side to him. She wisely kept her mouth shut. They all felt the tug again. "We gotta get there now," Naruto said to Hinata. Hinata looked at Hanabi. "Find Akane-chan and her family. Get out of here immediately. Don't cause massive panic, but warn as many people as you can." And with that, she and Naruto rushed to the source of the malevolent chakra. An old Hyuga elder fell with a dull thud on the ground in the main family tent. She lay unconscious in front of her fellow elders. Her chakra signature was non-existent. Quite refreshing, Hitomi lightly trembled as she felt the chakra enter her system. It is people like that who give the Hyuga clan a bad name. But you, my dear Hiashi-kun, are by far the worst. Hiashi was looking at the scene in front of him with trepidation. It was something akin to the horror stories parents told their children to keep them in line. The person in front of him held every aspect of his dead wife except for those eyes. They were so out of place and evil that it made the Hyuga head mentally tremble. He schooled his face into indifference however. This thing could not possibly be his wife. Hitomi would never act with such malice. Whoever you are, I can assure you that I'm not to be trifled with. I am not head of the Hyuga clan for just nothing, Hiashi said with narrowed eyes. Well, you were always stubborn. What's the matter? Can't handle the fact that your wife is not only alive, but out to get you, as well. You're not my wife. Hitomi would never do this. He gestured to the unconscious occupants of the room, and she does not have eyes such as yours. I will admit that you had me fooled at first, but no longer. Still in denial. Well, let me clear a few things for you. We married in the Hyuga courtyard in late spring because that was your favorite season. Not long after that we had our first daughter which we decided to name Hinata. However, when we had our second child, Hanabi, she saw him tense, and continued there were complications, and I ended up being a casualty, not before having you promise me to look after my babies. Imagine my surprise when I find out that you harmed Hanabi, and I'm quite certain that you have done the same to my eldest daughter. Hiyashi's mind was in a complete loop. She just knew way too much not to be Hitomi, and he just didn't know how to reply. To think that you would stoop so low. To think that you would give in to all that power that came with being a Hyuga head. To think that you would have little regard for our kids. I just prayed that none of them would ever be branded with that disgusting curse seal. Hitomi hissed in fury. She rarely lost her composure, but when it came to her children, then indifference be damned. She would kill if it meant protecting them. Hiashi quickly gathered himself and scowled. If this was really Hitomi, then he would let her know her place. He had always been the dominant figure in their relationship, and he will exercise that fact. Listen here, Hitomi-chan. I needed to raise my daughters to be capable of leading the Hyuga clan in the future. And yes, Hinata was branded with the caged bird seal, but it seemed to have disappeared. She was incapable of being a leader, so I followed tradition. I am Hyuga head. What I do is necessary for the Hyuga. Hiashi was shocked to the core. Hitomi had been a few feet away, but now she was right in front of him, lifting him into the air with a chokehold. Hitomi had stopped listening the moment she had heard what had happened to Hinata. She could not stop the heartbreak and unbridled fury from surfacing. My poor baby, I will kill you, bastard. I will kill you. Hitomi shouted furiously, as she increased pressure on Hiyashi's throat. Hiashi struggled not to choke, and used his position in the air to strike Hitomi's arms. With nothing happened however. None of the other Hyuga members made a move to assist. This was mainly due to the shock and fear of what Hitomi could do to them if they came closer. Hitomi paused in her chokehold and looked at Hiashi in contempt. No, choking him would be too easy. He didn't deserve an effortless and swift death. He deserved a slow and painful one. She threw Hiashi so hard that he hit a tent pole with a sickening crack. Hiashi gritted out when he felt his shoulder dislocate. What the hell are you waiting for? Attack her. He ordered his people, but most were too terrified to act out. If you value your lives, then you will not interfere, Hitomi warned the other Hyuga members. She turned her attention to her husband, who was nursing his left arm, and smiled cynically. How does it feel, huh? To be bullied. To be pushed around. How do you like it? Hitomi questioned with a snarl. Never mess with a woman scorned. Well, it seemed like a mother scorned was 10 times worse. Hiashi had been told at an early age that women were never to be taken lightly when angered. It appeared he was learning that harsh lesson at the moment. How should I do this? By sucking out every ounce of your chakra, and then taking your life, or maybe just tearing you limb from limb until you choke on your own blood. She briefly wondered what was becoming of her to think up such thoughts on a whim, but then her clouded mind decided to focus mainly on the man who had betrayed her so willingly. He did not deserve to call himself a father or husband. His actions were absolutely despicable. What are you? Hiashi inquired more out of curiosity than the obvious horror. Ha! What am I? I'm Hitomi Hyuga, mother of Hinata and Hanabi Hyuga, former wife of you. Do you wish to know something else? I bear the Jubi within me, Hitomi whispered secretively. It was a big risk to reveal such information, but she didn't care. This mean will know exactly who killed him. She could hear whispers from within her, telling her to make Hiashi suffer, to suck him dry of any sort of comfort, tempting her. She was slowly giving in. This time Hiashi could not stop the horror-stricken expression from dawning. His wife carried the Jubi. No, that could not be. He refused to believe it. It would just be too much to take in. Hitomi, I cannot believe that, Hiashi said defiantly. You want proof, I see. Well, too bad I'm not feeling lenient. Hitomi approached Hiashi at a leisure pace, severing the look of fear behind the strong visage of the Hyuga head. He could act as tightly as he wanted. He would soon be screaming enough. She slowly lifted her arms until her fingers were pointing directly at Hiashi. She fisted all but one finger. That's all I need to completely obliterate you. The voices were encouraging her to do so, to do anything to make the man pay. And you called me a monster. Look at what you have done. Attacking your own people. Hiashi shot. Do not confuse your atrocious acts with mine. I am doing this for the betterment of humankind. Hitomi said. What do you mean by that? Hiashi questioned apprehensively. I can completely remove chakra from anyone I wish without killing them, and I will use that power to absorb all chakra from this world. That is more noble. No, but your ideals are sickening. Even I, a monster, would never stoop so low as to take someone's very being away from them. What on earth would you be hoping to achieve with this? World peace. The pause was all Hiashi needed to know that he was correct. We were never the type to sink into thinking like a one-track-minded commoner. This is beneath you. Do you honestly think that once you remove chakra, assuming your statement to bear truth from this world, that humanity would just shake hands and live happily ever after? Ludicrous and naive. Hiashi could no longer think of this woman as the lovable Hitomi Hyuga. She seemed too far gone and mad to be his beloved wife. You think I'll just stand here and listen to your accusations without a counter? I am already aware that humanity can never achieve true peace, but chakra has aided in creating a hostile atmosphere of war and crime. And you think by removing it you would be decreasing casualties? Hiashi cut in incredulously, and winced when he made to get up a little too quickly. It will happen, Hitomi said in surety. Hiashi scoffed, we always find a way to adapt. Your acts will do nothing but delay the inevitable. Maybe, maybe not. The only way to find out is to put my plan into action. Too bad you won't be here to see it, Hitomi said, as her hands started to glow. Hiashi felt his body stiffen, and was lifted into the air by an unseen force. He could not move an inch of himself. Now about those limbs. Hitomi started waving her finger, and heard Hiashi grunt in pain. Like I told you. This is all I need to kill you. She emphasized her point by waving her finger more urgently. Hiashi's body moved in accordance with Hitomi's finger. He felt like a lifeless corpse being against its will. Hitomi stopped her movement, and narrowed her eyes. It took seconds for Hiashi to start grunting, and thrashing in pain. Hiashi could feel his arms and legs slowly pulling away from his body. It would only be a matter of time before he started to feel his bones cracking. He could not believe this would be how it ended for him. Killed by his own wife in midair. That is enough, said a voice, and Hitomi turned around, briefly pausing her assault on Hiashi, and stared into the eyes of Tsunade Senju, who was with a few other people. Tsunade-sama. It's a pleasure to see you again. I wish it was under more welcoming circumstances, Hitomi said. It was her right, Tsunade thought. Hitomi had always held a certain grace that Tsunade could not compare to anyone else, and she had always referred to Tsunade with honor and respect. Hitomi-chan. It really is you. Tsunade said in shock and sadness. Yes, it is, Hitomi agreed. Oh god, to think it would come to this. Please Hitomi-chan, don't force my hand and surrender. Tsunade pleaded. Surrender? But Tsunade-sama, there is so much to do, so much to fix in this world. I cannot surrender nor will I submit. Hitomi said with a frown. Tsunade mirrored her frown with her own. Taking chakra. It's absurd and will not solve anything. I'm pleading with you, Hitomi-chan. Don't do this. And I'm pleading with you to understand my way of thinking. Chakra aids people in doing horrible acts, and most get away with it. I wish to remove that element. I wish I could see it that way, but I just can't. Just surrender. We won't harm you, I promise, Tsunade said. I'm sure you'll see things my way once everything's done. Something was definitely off with Hitomi, Tsunade concluded. She was normally sweet and kind. She would never resort to such antics. There had to be some sort of influence. Then it came to her. The Jubi. It's influencing you. Tsunade said. That's impossible. It cannot do such a thing, just as the Kyuubi has no power over her container, Hitomi said rather critically. It must be it. You would never act this way. I'm sorry, Hitomi-chan. I care for you greatly, but if you do not surrender you will leave me no choice but to stop you, Tsunade said, and Shizu tensed in preparation. Is it it? You want to fight? Well, Tsunade-sama, I must warn you. I'm not the weak woman you once knew, Hitomi said. I know, but you can't hope to defeat every shinobi at the Spring Festival. Tsunade said. With the Jubi providing me with unlimited chakra, and with the lack of the past Hokages I think I can manage. This is tedious. I have more precious things to deal with. Like killing him, Hitomi said, as she pointed at a damaged Hiashi. I can't allow you to do that either, Hitomi. Just stop this before it's too late, Tsunade pleaded. No, this needs to be done, Hitomi said. Then I implore you to understand that you have left me with no choice, Tsunade said. Tsunade. Tsunade turned around and watched as the Reikage and Mizukichi rushed to her, entering the tent with worried frowns. Be careful. Do not make any rash decisions. Tsunade sternly told A and Mei. What the hell is making that chakra? Mei stop her rant, as she eyed the woman with red eyes that looked very similar to the Jubi's. Are you the one emitting the Jubi's chakra? Demanded fiercely. I am. What are you going to do about it? Hitomi goaded. Before A could reply, Tsunade cut in. What would Hinata think of this? Tsunade asked carefully. That caught Hitomi off guard. The last thing she wanted was for her children to fear and hate her. She didn't know how to reply to that at first, but then turned a stern look to Tsunade. She'll understand. I'm doing this because I want her to be safe. I want all my children to be safe, Tsunade said. That won't achieve anything, Tsunade said seriously. It will. I'm sure it will. Hitomi said. Enough of this. Surrender or be brought down. A command. Hitomi scoffed. Oh please. None of you can defeat me, Hitomi said smugly. We'll see about that, I said seriously. Hinata and Naruto were racing to the source of the Jubi's chakra. Naruto-kun. I can feel the Jubi's chakra, Hinata said in alarm. I know, me too, Naruto said. Though Naruto stopped and looked in the direction where he thought he heard something. But he could see nothing but people rushing to the exits and shinobis rushing to the source of the Jubi's chakra. Move in an orderly fashion. Quickly. The Tsuchikage commanded the crowd. Looks like they know too, Hinata said. She had stopped the moment her boyfriend did. Then she noticed Naruto's distracted expression. What's the matter with Naruto-kun? Is there something else out there? Hinata hesitantly asked. Naruto was sure he heard something, but it seemed like it was just in his head. It's nothing. Let's go, Naruto said determinedly, and the pair quickly rushed to the intended destination. A figure stood still among the rushing crowd, eyeing the blonde, as he rushed off to somewhere. The figure then turned to look at a storm that was slowly approaching. The calm before the storm. How ironic. Stupid dope really has the worst luck, the figure said, then suddenly disappeared in the crowd. The end. Thanks for watching my video, and make sure to check out the author of this fanfic. Link is in the description. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.